was you. No, God chose me.
There's a storm inside King Saul, one no sword or army can silence. The weight of divine silence has hollowed him out. The same God who once spoke through prophets, who once guided his hand in battle, now seems to have turned his face away. Every shadow in Saul's tent feels like judgment. Every whisper in the halls sounds like betrayal. And yet, he wears the crown, a crown that burns heavier with every passing night. Abner sees it. He's seen the fire in Saul's eyes fade into something darker, something colder. The man who once led Israel's armies with faith and fury now clings to his throne with fear. The soldiers sense it too. The camp is uneasy. Even the air feels different. Thick, heavy, like the pause before thunder. Rumors move like smoke. David's name is on the lips of the people. Songs about his victories echo through Israel. The shepherd boy, who once played the harp for the king, now commands the hearts of men. But Abner, bound by years of loyalty, keeps fighting Saul's battles. He still calls him my king. He still bows. But deep down he knows something sacred has broken. The man before him is not the same Saul who was anointed in glory and humility. This Saul is a man haunted by God, by prophecy, by his own reflection. And then comes the moment that starts the fall. Word reaches Saul that David's influence is spreading even faster. Villages whisper his name as if he's already king. Saul calls Abner into his chamber. The torches burn low, their light flickering like a dying flame. "Find him," Saul commands. "Bring me the boy." But it's not a command born from strategy. It's fear. The kind that turns a king into a hunter and a friend into a weapon. Abner hesitates. He's seen David's eyes, the calm, the conviction, the strange peace of a man chosen for something greater. And for the first time, Abner wonders if he's fighting against God himself. He looks at Saul and sees not a king, but a man trying to outfight his own fate. Still, he bows his head and leaves, because that's what loyalty demands. Obedience, even when it cuts deep. Outside, the winds rise. The sound of banners flapping feels like warning. Saul stands alone, gripping his spear, staring into nothing. He mutters to himself about prophecy, about Samuel, about the silence of heaven. His voice cracks, and for a brief second, the mighty king looks small, a man crushed beneath the weight of his own crown. Meanwhile, Abner rides out into the darkness. His soldiers follow, but his heart is elsewhere. Every hoofbeat feels like a drumbeat of destiny. He remembers the old days, when Saul's courage gave men hope, when their victories felt like miracles. Now, those memories feel like ghosts chasing him through the desert. What neither of them knows is that their paths are no longer leading toward victory. They're leading toward a reckoning. A confrontation not between enemies, but between two men who once believed in the same dream. The king who fears losing everything, and the soldier who's finally ready to tell him the truth. The night drags on, long and merciless. Saul can't sleep. The silence is heavier than any battlefield he's faced. He stares into the distance as if the darkness itself might speak to him, as if somewhere within it God still whispers his name. But the heavens remain still. The stars watch like witnesses, cold and distant, offering no comfort, no answer. He remembers the prophet Samuel. the day the old man's voice thundered with divine truth. You have rejected the word of the Lord, and he has rejected you as king. That sentence never left Saul. It circles his mind like a curse he can't escape. Every victory since that day feels empty. Every prayer echoes back at him unanswered. He's surrounded by soldiers, by servants, by walls of stone. But inside, Saul is utterly alone. And that loneliness has turned to rage. Rage at David, at Samuel, at God, and most of all, at himself. He feels betrayed by heaven, forgotten by the very power that raised him up. The more he tries to hold on to his kingdom, the faster it slips through his fingers, and Abner, his last faithful pillar, is beginning to crumble too. Saul can sense it. The way Abner looks at him now, not as a king, but as a man unraveling. In the camp, the soldiers whisper. They see the king talking to himself, his eyes wild, his words tangled in desperation. They hear him pacing through the night, muttering about betrayal, about David's songs, about ghosts. The fear spreads like infection. A kingdom ruled by faith now trembles under the shadow of madness. Abner stands outside Saul's tent, hearing every word. He's been here before, waiting for orders, guarding his king through sleepless nights, but this time feels different. There's no strategy, no clarity, only chaos. He steps inside, quietly. The torchlight flickers across Saul's face. Hollow eyes, trembling hands. My king, Abner says softly. Saul doesn't look at him. His voice cracks, brittle and cold. They're singing his name again. David. The people, the priests, even the children. They praise him as if he were the chosen one. Abner takes a breath. David fights for Israel, my lord. He has never... Saul slams his hand on the table. He fights for himself. Don't you see it? The boy hides behind faith, but his heart is full of ambition. He wants my throne. Abner's jaw tightens. No, my king. David does not seek your fall. He honors you. Honors me? Saul spits the words. Then why does every song they sing sound like a funeral for my reign? The silence between them burns. Abner sees the torment, the trembling fear behind Saul's fury. He wants to reach out, to calm him, to remind him of who he once was. But something stops him, a realization too heavy to speak. This isn't the same Saul who led Israel to victory. This is a man consumed by shadows. My king, Abner finally says, voice low and steady. You are Israel's strength. But strength turns to weakness when it fights against its own blood. Do not let pride destroy what you built. Saul turns his gaze on him, eyes wild, searching, desperate. You sound like Samuel, like those priests who doubt me. Are you doubting me too, Abner? The question cuts deeper than any blade. Abner straightens, his voice shaken but firm. I have stood by you through every war, through every storm. I have bled for your name, but I cannot stand by and watch you destroy yourself. For a moment, everything freezes. The fire crackles. The wind moans against the tent. Saul's face twists. Hurt, disbelief, fury. The words echo in his head like a prophecy. Destroy yourself. Then, without warning, Saul's hand moves to his spear. The same spear that once rested beside his throne, now trembling in his grasp. The same weapon he threw at David in a moment of rage. The air thickens, heavy with memory and madness. Abner doesn't move. He looks at Saul not with fear, but with sorrow. The soldier's eyes say what his words cannot, that this is not a war he wants to fight, not against his king, not against his friend. "Put it down, my lord," Abner whispers. "Please." For a heartbeat, Saul seems to waver, caught between the ghost of who he was and the shadow he's become. Then his hand drops. The spear clatters to the floor. The sound is deafening, and in that sound something breaks, not just between Saul and Abner, but within the king himself. Abner bows his head. He doesn't speak again. He knows the silence between them now says everything words cannot, that the loyalty which once bound them is dying. And as he leaves Saul's tent, the first light of dawn begins to break over the horizon.